Welcome to AT Insider. My name's Eleanor, and in this video, I will be reviewing Read Aloud, a text-to-speech product. I'll be going over what it is, how it works, and where you can access it. Then I'll be going through a demonstration of the tool being used on a PDF, a web page, and on Google Docs. And I'll show you specifically how to link Read Aloud with Google Docs. Then I'll be going over my general opinion, what I think after having used this tool for roughly a week, and who I think this tool could be useful for. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So what is Read Aloud? Read Aloud is both a Firefox and Chrome extension, with over 6 million users on Google Chrome and over 200,000 users on Firefox. It is a text-to-speech tool, which means it takes the text on your screen in a number of different formats and turns it into audio. Read Aloud supports over 40 different languages. Now, where can you get this tool and how much does it cost? So as I said previously, this tool is accessible both on Google Chrome and on Firefox. And there are free versions on both of these different platforms. All right, so with that helpful background out of the way, let's jump over to Voice over Eleanor to show you a demonstration of this tool in action.
All right, so to access the Read Aloud tool, all you need to do is click on your extensions button and then click on the Read Aloud tab, and it will immediately begin to read the text on screen.
Manatee. This article is about the aquatic mammal. For other uses, see
Now, before I show you this tool in action on a couple of different sites and a couple of different examples of where you may use it on a day-to-day basis, let me show you some of the settings that you are able to adjust. So you're able to adjust the size of the text in the pop-up window. You're able to also change the size of the pop-up window itself, and you're able to change the pop-up window from night mode to day mode or vice versa. There are some other settings regarding the voice. You're able to change the speed or the rate of narration, words per minute, the pitch of the voice, the volume, which is separate from the volume controls on your own computer, and the text highlighting, which is the highlighting of the text in the pop-up window. So if that's something that's helpful for you with tracking, you can turn that on, or if that's something that is distracting, you can turn that off. You're also able to choose from a variety of voices. Now, I want to add a major caveat here. I have tried a majority or most of the voices available to you via the free version of this extension, and the majority of them are not great. So let me just show you a couple of examples using their test feature.
Read Aloud is a Chrome and Firefox extension that uses text-to-speech. Read Aloud is a Chrome and Firefox extension that uses text-to-speech technology to convert web page text to audio. It works on a variety of websites.
Read Aloud is a Chrome and Firefox extension that uses text-to-speech technology to convert web page text to audio. It works on a variety of... Read Aloud is a Chrome and Firefox extension that uses text-to-speech
Read Aloud is a Chrome and Firefox extension that uses text-to-speech technology to convert web.
All right, so I think you get the point. I also want to clarify that you are only able to access the voices that are accessible via your computer. So I'm right now doing this review on a Mac device, so I'm only able to access the Mac OS voices. If you are using a Google device or an Amazon device or a Microsoft device, you're able to access the voices for those specific devices. So after I showed you the voices there, I suggest you just use the auto select voice because I think it is the best option. All right, so now having an overview of how the extension works and its settings, let me show you this tool in action on a couple of different websites pages, showing you a couple of use cases where you may use this extension on a day-to-day basis. Let me begin here on a simple website, specifically the Wikipedia page for manatees.
The article is about the aquatic mammal. For other uses, see manatee. Disambiguation. Manatees, mantis, family Trichachidae, genus Trichachus, are large, fully aquatic, mostly herbivorous marine mammals sometimes known as sea cows. There are 3 accepted living species of Trichachidae, representing 3 of the 4 living species in the order Sirenia, the Amazonian manatee, Trichachus inunguis, the West Indian manatee.
All right, so there you can see an example in Wikipedia, and this shows what it will look like on pretty much any website. So that would look like if you're going on the New York Times or if you have a subscription to any other news platform or any other website in general. Alright, so here I have a PDF of Charlotte's Web, and I'm going to show you this extension working in action as an example of how it would work on any PDF. Now I want to be clear, if you want to skip into a specific page on a PDF, you have to highlight the text that you want the extension to read. Otherwise, it will immediately start from the beginning of the text. So again, if you are starting, let's say, on page 24, you need to highlight the specific text you want the extension to read. Otherwise, it will start from the beginning. So I'll show you this extension in action now.
Said Mr. Zuckerman. Wilbur heard the words of praise. He felt the warm milk inside his stomach. He felt the pleasant rubbing of the stick along his itchy back. He felt peaceful and happy and sleepy. This had been a tiring afternoon. It was still only about 4 o'clock, but Wilbur was ready for bed.
Alright, so there you can see an example of this extension working on a PDF. Now I want to show you this product attempting to work on a Google Doc. So this is a Google Doc with an excerpt of my Equatio review, which I highly suggest you go check out, as well as all of the other written reviews that I have accessible on my website, which will be the first link in the description below. So I want to actually show you the process it requires to allow this extension to work on Google Docs. So I went to a different account so that you can see this in action, because I went through these steps about a week ago when I began to use this tool. So you need to, again, click on extensions and click on read aloud. And you would assume that it would begin reading, but let's see. So it shows here that you need to grant permission. So when you go to click permissions, it says that it can read and change your data on Google Docs. So they have no further reading or clarification on what that means. So at your own discretion, decide if you want to allow or deny this, but for the purposes of this review, I will allow it. And then once again, you go to extensions, click on read aloud. Alright, so now you can see that it says you can't use read aloud because an add-on was not found. So then you can go to extensions, and you can go to this post, where it clarifies how you can add this specific extensions to your Google workspace. And so I will do that now because, again, I think these are important instructions to go through. So you click on extensions, add add-ons, get add-on, and then you click here and you can write in read aloud, TTS, text to speech, and you can install it. Alright, there are a couple of permissions that you need to grant TTS, and so I just went through that process. It takes no more than a minute, but now that that is done, you can go to extensions. In the add-on section, click on the add-on Read Aloud TTS, click Open Sidebar, and then you can simply highlight the text that you want to have read aloud. You can again adjust the speed, the pitch, the voice, and the language, and then have it read aloud.
Students with LDs and SLDs, for example dysgraphia or dyslexia, struggle with math and with other STEM subjects that require written equations.
Alright, so there was read aloud text-to-speech being used in a variety of different examples in ways that you may use it in your everyday life. I've used this tool for about a week now as my primary text-to-speech tool, and there were a couple of kinks that I needed to work out on the way, one of which was this specific process of downloading it for Google Docs specifically. But now that you know how to go through that process, it is very simple and easy to use across platforms. So across different websites, PDFs, and in Google Docs. All right, let's jump over to real life Eleanor.
All right, so I hope that demonstration was helpful in showing you this tool in action. But now, what are my thoughts and opinions? Do I think this tool is good or bad? And who do I think it's for? Now, before I say anything else, this tool is free and there are no major flaws and it's not a scam. So I highly suggest, regardless of my personal takeaway, that you at least give this tool a shot. There is an array of different text-to-speech tools out there, and you just need to find the one that works for you. So regardless of my personal takeaway, just go to Google Chrome or Firefox, download it, and spend like 10 minutes trying it out. And just see if it meets your needs. And if it doesn't, move on. And if it does, great. But there is no cost, and there's really no downside to at least giving it a shot. Now that being said, what are my personal takeaways from having used this tool for the past week? All right, so I'll start with pros. The first big pro is that it's free. So as I said previously, there are really no downsides to trying it out. And if it works for you, there's no cost associated with it. The second pro is super easy to use. Now, it's not the most seamless tool I've ever used. I think that award goes to the built-in Mac text-to-speech because all you need to do is right-click. But this is basically as easy as you can get. As I showed in the demonstration, it's really just 2 clicks. And another big pro is Read Aloud truly works on anything within your browser, whether that be a PDF, a Google Doc, or a web page. I've had issues with other text-to-speech tools in the past not working with all of those different formats, but Read Aloud truly works with everything, especially if you are able to, or if you go through the steps to link it with your Google Doc account. All right, so what are the cons? Now, there aren't many cons because Read Aloud functions basically the same as any other text-to-speech tool where you highlight text, read aloud, and you can change the pace. But besides its basic functionality, what are the cons that I've seen in using it over the past week? Well, firstly is going to be the voices. As I showed you in the demonstration, there's a wide array of voices, but most of them aren't that great. So that's going to be the first con. The second con is that you can only use it within your browser. So I can use, as I said previously, my built-in Mac tool anywhere on my computer, if that's a file, if that is in something other than a browser, but Read Aloud is confined to your browser, so it can't read files that are on your computer separately. All right, another issue is the pop-up window. So unlike other text-to-speech tools, which actually highlight the text on the web page itself, Read Aloud shows you that pop-up window, which I find to be pretty annoying because it covers the screen and it's a bit distracting. So that's another con with Read Aloud. All right, I hope my thoughts and demonstration were helpful in showing you an overview of this tool. As I said previously, I highly suggest you check it out. There is no cost, and while this personally isn't my favorite text-to-speech tool, it could be yours. All right, if you want to see more videos like this where I review assistive technology products, you can check out my YouTube channel, where I also have videos just talking candidly about my experiences as a student with a disability. And if you want to see these reviews in a written format and other exclusive content, you can go to my website, which will be the first link in the description below. All right, I hope you have a great day. Bye!